Assalamu alaikum. My name is Muhammad Haris Siddiqui. So today I have to explain this problem, which is called longest duplicate substring. Given a string S, consider all the duplicated substring contiguous substring of S that occurs two or more times. The occurrence may overlap. Return any duplicated substring that has the longest possible length if S does not have a duplicated substring. The answer is empty string. Okay. Example 1. Input S is equal to banana. B-A-N-A. So if you look carefully, you will see that A is repeating itself, N is repeating its A N is repeating itself, and yes, A and A is repeating itself, which is this. So we have the longest substring in this case will be A and A because A and A is coming right after that. So in this case, the output will be this. And the point which is important is the occurrence may overlap. In this case, the overlapping comes in the shape of character A, which is this. A is coming in both the substrings, in this one and also in this one. So yes, it is the occurrence may overlap. The next example is S is equal to A B C D. So if you look carefully, A is not coming in the remaining substring. B is not coming in the remaining substring, right? Likewise, C and D. So we will give the output of empty string. So now let's take a look. What I did is yes. So if you see that example one, we are given a string banana. We have to look. We have to take the longest duplicated substring. So in this case, as I told, A is coming, yes. An is coming, yes. A and A, which is the longest in this case, is coming substring, which is in this case is this substring. A and A is coming again, and the overlapping is also coming, which is in the shape of A. So what I did is I implemented the solution by sliding window method, which gives the time complexity of n minus k, which I will further prove this. Why does it give this? Why does it give n minus k? So now, uh, let's take a look what I implemented. Now we'll discuss the algorithm which I implemented. So basically, what I did is I took an variable temp and I stored in temp the first character, and then I took a second variable temp1, and then I assigned the remaining elements, which is in this case is and A and A. Now what I did is I created a while loop. In while loop, I checked that if temp comes in temp one, no, it doesn't come. Then what I did is I first implemented a for loop, then a while loop. Then within a while for loop, I implemented a while loop. So if temp comes in temp1, no, in this case it doesn't come. So what I did is I discard this element and I put the next element which comes right after B, which is in this case is A, and then I discard this element. Then I check that if A comes in temp1, yes, it does comes in temp1. So what I did is I then also take the next element right after A, which is in this case is N. So then uh, this all process is coming within the while loop. It's all doing is coming within the while loops. So an is coming, yes, it does comes. Then I also take the next element which comes to an right after an, which is in this case. Sorry, I have to discard this element. I doesn't discard this element. So I will see that if what is the element comes right after an. So in this case is A. So Yes, we'll see that if a comes in temp, yes, it does come in. So I again likewise check that if the next element, which is and comes in temp one, no, it doesn't come. So this will be saved in a variable result. Result is equal to a and a. So this is the first iteration basically. Now we will see what comes. What if we what if we take line of event? Yes, it does come. Where's the brushes? Should I take yes this one and this one? Yes. So B. So what now? What I do is I discard. I will take in the temp variable the element which was right next to the previous element. First variable which I took was B. B was not in temp one. Then I took was A. Yes, it was in temp was in A was in temp one variable. So now what will I do is I will take the next element which was in front of A, which is in this case is N, and then I take a look at this string. If N comes in, if N comes in temp one, yes, it does comes in at temp one. Here's we'll start the temp variable with N. Yes, it does come in. Then we will take a look that if A comes in, the element which is right next to N, in this case is A. So we will check that in if an A comes in M variable, yes, it does comes in. Then also we take a look at the element which is right next to NA, which is in this case is N. Then we will check NA, N is in temp variable, temp one variable. No. So the string which we'll get is in this case is NA, which is smaller than this. So at the last, the answer will be looking like this. So now I have explained the algorithm. Now let's take a look at how I did it. So now uh, let's take a variable. Okay, for I in should I do? What should I do? What should I do? What should I do? I should take a variable. Yes, I should take a variable exponent for I in range length of s. Length of s, I will take a variable. Let's take dummy is equal to s. And yes, I have to do one more thing. I have to take this one. So now j plus 1. So now we'll see that a plus. Now what we'll do is we will take the first character, which is in this case is v, and store it in dummy, and then we'll take the remaining characters in the next variable. Let's take them, and then I is equal to I plus 1. It will take the remaining elements in the substring. Then we will take a while loop within the for loop and check that if dummy comes in a, then if yes, store that dummy character in result, take a string, and then j plus 1 and then add the element which comes right after the character which we have found. In this case is a. So our dummy would be increment itself. So um, j plus 1 and j is equal to I, I plus j, I plus j. So yes, and then return a rest. Okay, let's see if it does gives the right answer. And that's our rest solution. Content plus this, I forgot character. Mhm. So yeah, this the problem is coming in the in this section basically. So uh, we are taking the variable in the first iteration, right? But after the iteration, it doesn't count the characters which we required. So what we do is we will take this element and I plus j in this. Yes, m variable will storing all the remaining elements, and dummy variables will be iterating likewise. So now let's check it. Yes, it does gives the right answer. Now let's submit it and see whether it gives the right answer or not. Oh, it gives wrong answer. Oh, 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 oh. I is equal to 0 first time and I plus j is equal to. Yes, this is the problem. I plus 1 will be there. Now let's take a look at this. Hopefully it will give the right answer. Yes, it does give the right answer. So, as I said earlier, this was the sliding method technique. Now we will discuss what is the time complexity of this in this case. So let's take a look in this case. This this will run constant time. Also, this will run constant time. Now, for loop comes in for loops. Uh, our the iteration will be n times, n number of times. So it means that this statement will run n times as well as this statement n times. So n plus n plus n plus n plus n. Now while loops come in while loop, you will see that for the first iteration, which is for the first iteration in this example b was not there in the temp variable. So it doesn't the while loop will not work for the first iteration of for loop. So it will work for the remaining for loop, but it will not work for the first iteration. As well uh, as well as for loop will only run for loop will only run for one. While loop will only run one time one for one iteration of for loop. Let me explain it. Because so what I did is I took as I explained earlier, a will be a will be in temp 2, a will be in temp 2. Then the while loop will continue itself until it doesn't the next characters are not coming in temp variable 1. So after that we checked after that we checked the next character which doesn't come in temp1 variable, so it did iterate for only one time for one for loop iteration. So we will see n plus n plus n minus k, because it will not run for all the iterations of for loop. It will only run for one time for one for loop iteration. So we'll take this, and then we'll see that 3n is equal to minus k, and then we will the rule is that we have to ignore non-dominant terms, which is in this case is 3 and k. So remaining big of n will be n times. The time complexity of this case is n times. The constraints in this case is basically s length is greater than equal to 2 and less than equal to 3 into 10 to power 4. And it means that the size of the array which is given to us is greater than equal to 2 and less than equal to 3 into 10 to power 4. And will be consists of lower English letters. So the edge case in this example is basically uh, example 2, in which there's no duplicate elements. So we have returned the empty string in this case, which will right in this case will give a result as it was before as it was declared in the problem. So yes, now let's take a look at another problem which I did it. So yes, basically this problem is called shortest subarray with sum at least k, with sum at least k. Given an integer array nums and an integer k, return the length of the shortest non-empty subarray of nums with a sum of at least k. If there is no such subarray, return -1. A subarray is a contiguous part of an array. Okay. Example 1. There's only one element in this array. So there's only one element in this array, so and the sum is also 1, so we'll give the answer also 1. In this case, there's no element in this nums array which have the sum of k 4, since there's no array, so we'll give return the answer -1. But in this array, the sub array, the shortest sub array with a sum of k is equal to 3 is only this. So so now what we'll do is, uh, you see that 2 is first consider a substring of 2. 2 has a sum of 2. Now let's take a look at this. 2 minus 1, 2 comma minus 1, this substring gives the sum of plus 1, and then this substring gives the sum of 3. So that's why the length of this substring will be 3, will be given in the output. So now let's take a look at algorithm which I implemented. So basically, what I did is what I did a brute force method technique, which gives a time complexity of O(n) square, which I will prove later in this video. So now what I did is I basically simply have run a for loop and checked that if the solution is coming, the sum is equal to the target. So what I did is I just let's take an example of base variable -2 plus -1. This is +1, then 2. Yes. So +2 -1 2. This I just implemented the invest in a for two for loops in for the solution. So what I did is I checked that if 2 is in the remaining sub elements, So I checked it that if the sum of this substring the sum of this subarray, which is 2 in this case, has a sum of 2, has a sum of equal to target, which is in this case is 3. No, it doesn't come. Then I maximize my substring to 2 minus 1. Now we'll check. I check that 2 minus 1. This substring gives the sum of 3. No, doesn't give the sum of 3. Then I maximize the substring to 2. Then I check that this substring gives the sum of 3. Yes, it does give that. Then uh, uh, let's take a look at the code. It's pretty simple and it's pretty forward. It doesn't need any more explanation. So what I did is I first created a for loop for I in range length of a. Then I take another variable for a in range length of, basically a is the string which is given to us. So nums minus 1. Okay. Now we will save the sum which will come to us. A is equal to I plus j. Yes, I plus j. Also I have to. So then if solution comes right after there, yes. So is from, then I already did is solution is equal to, if solution is equal to k, solution the sum, if it is equal to the target, then we will store the minimum length of that minimum shortest subarray, which has a sum of equal to target. So rest equal to j minus I plus 1. J minus I plus 1 is the window size which will give us is the sub which will give us the subarray of the shortest sum. It is basically it is basically a uh, window size. For example, in this case, in this case, we have a we got a sum of 3 of this subarray 3. So in this case, uh, I will be 0, j will be 2. So the length of this subarray will uh, will be solved by this formula j minus I plus 1, which will gives us the length of the subarray j plus minus I plus 1, which is 2 minus 0 plus 1, which is equal to 3. So yes, then we will see that there's no if there's no subarray which is equal to sum, which is in this example there's no subarray which is equal to target, where the sum of equal to target. So we will return minus 1. So what it is result is equal to, let's take and float infinity. See that if float infinity is equal to return minus 1, if quantity is equal to 1, return 0 in this case, 0 in this case. So the changes which I did is, first I took a variable result, and I store the maximum positive value which can be which can comes in. I stored in that result res variable. Why I did that? Because we have to take the minimum value, minimum substring of that array. So in this case, uh, what I explain is, in this example, 3 comes in. 3. If we take a look at this 3 here, result is infinity, positive infinity, and this is window size 3 and windows positive infinity, which is minimum, obviously 3. So 3 will be stored in this variable. And why I did that if result is equal to 0 minus 1? Because, for example, let's take a look, 1 minus 19, sorry, plus 19 to 1, and our this is an array, and our target is 19. 19 is our target. So we'll see that if there's no any subarray with subarray of greater than 1 equal to size 1, which is equal to 19. There's only one subarray which have a length of 1, which will be equal to the equal to the target. So the problem was coming when we figure out the window size. What will window size in this case? In this case, I will be I will be 1 and j will be 0. So when I implemented the formula, there was a value coming uh, of value coming the value was coming was 0, but the window size was 1, because j is 0, I is 1, so it will become minus 1 plus 1. So it gives the answer of 0, but the window size is 1. So I that's why I take implemented a if loop. If result is equal to 0, return 1. So I hope this, oh, it's coming, no, it's coming right. Infinity, okay, infinity is in. If solution is equal to, okay, k is maximum. I hope this gives an correct answer. Right, equal to, let's look out of the problem which I did wrong was I took a 1 variable, which is not right, because let's take another, because it have to I have to increment as well. I have to increment as well. In this case, j was j was coming out of the index. For example, if we have the array like this, if I have to increment, j have to also increment. So it was coming out of the array size of the out of the array. So what we have to do is we have to take the statement like j minus I, so that it doesn't comes out of the array element. So now let's take a look. Float infinity is in the not defined. It is not defined. Why doesn't it define? It's not defined. Okay. Yes, it gives us the correct answer. Now let's look at summation. The problem which was coming was in summation was this one. As you can see in this problem, array is given, target is also given, which is 150, and the output which was expected is 2, and there is no element in this array of size 2 in this array of size 2 uh, which gives the sum equal to the target. There's only one subarray which is 17 plus 85 plus 93 minus 45 is equal to 150. So the solution which I implemented is basically giving the right answer, and the solution which is expected from lead code is giving the wrong answer, because there is no element in this sub array which is giving the sum of uh, equal to target, which has a size of 2. There's no element. There's only one element. There's only one sub array which have a size of 4, which gives the sum of equal to target 150. So basically, this is the lead code test case which is wrong, and I am confident that this is the right solution which I implemented, because it passes all the tests which I implemented myself, which I created myself test cases, and this is the only test case which gives the uh, right answer, but in lead code sense it gives the wrong answer. So now let's take a look at the time complexity. In this case, simpler simple we have implemented the for loop. For this will the first statement is run constant time, then there comes for loop which will run n times, and then there's also for loop which runs n times as well. So it will become n cross n. In this case, this statement will run n times, this statement will run n cross n times, because for every for loop first for loop iteration, the second for loop iteration will run n number of times. So the time complexity of simple our the time complexity will be n cross n, which is equal to n n square. N square. The time complexity of this solution is n square. Just two for loops. Uh, time the solution will run n to power 2 times. So this statement will run constant time. This statement will run constant time, as well as these two. So what we'll do is we will discard the non-dominant terms, and we'll take only the dominant terms. For example, if constant, 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 there comes one constant statement, 2, 3, 4, 5. So basically, 5, 5. So what we'll do is we will discard all the non-dominant terms, and we take the only dominant terms in this case, which is n to power 2. So now let's take a look at the edge cases. Edge cases in this example would be like this. There is no element which is duplicated, which have the sum of equal to target. So we return the -1, which I did that in shape of this if loop. And yes, I think so that's it, and thank you very much for watching. Okay, Allah Hafiz. Allah Hafiz.